For anybody who's already familiar with my videos, you know that I do a lot of mobile hunting. I do a lot of self-filming, and during the rut I do a lot of all-day sits, and occasionally I'll move during the day. So a question that I've been asked a few times recently is, what exactly do I pack for an all-day hunt? Or a 3-hour hunt? And I can tell you right now, it's pretty much the exact same thing. And just as important as the gear I choose, how do I pack it? What's my process? How do I bring it into the woods, set it up in the tree efficiently, and then be ready to take it down at a moment's notice? Just remember, my process is always kind of in flux. It's always changing a little bit. I'm always tweaking something or another. So this is what I did last year. It worked really well when I was using 3 or 4 climbing sticks on a hunt. This year I might do a little more experimenting with the 1-stick climbing method, the 2-stick climbing method, in conjunction with a rock harness. So that video is to come later, but this will still serve as a great reference for people who are doing the more traditional 4-stick hunts or 3-stick hunts. So here's absolutely everything I'll bring. The biggest variable is the amount of extra clothing, which I'll touch on more in a bit. I use an ultralight pack which only weighs about 10 ounces from REI. It holds my camera, extra batteries, a low light lens, action cam, microphone, recorder, headlamp, drag rope, tag, rangefinder, 2 pull ropes, and assuming it's during the rut, I'll usually bring a call, but the rut's usually the only time of year I'll bother bringing one. My knife and GPS are attached to my waist for quick and easy access. If it's an all-day sit, I'll usually bring a bottle of water and maybe a couple Cliff Bars and a 5-hour energy. Anything more than that is simply not needed for me, and if it's not needed, it's just extra weight and space. So when I'm packing all this stuff onto the stand initially, I'll start with my climbing sticks. Last year I used the minis for every hunt. This year I have some full-length sticks I'll play around with, but this is the way I was able to stack them. They're just the right length that I can lay them across sideways on the stand and they don't stick out quite so far. Then I'll lay the webbing stirrups over the top, lay my camera arm on top of all that. Then I'll take my pack, lay that pack on top. Then I use 3 bungee cords. The first 2 bungee cords I'll lay in an X over all the gear. I'll run it through a loop on the pack just kind of as a fail-safe, even though I don't really think it's completely necessary. Run it across in one diagonal, take the other bungee cord, run it across the other diagonal. Then I'll take any extra clothing that I have, I'll lay it on top just like this. I'll take my 3rd bungee cord and I'll put it right across the middle, just like that. So then this jacket, I can just fold over the top like that and everything lays somewhat nicely. I can tell you from experience that this isn't going to make any noise because this jacket and those bungee cords are going to absorb pretty much any vibration that could come off of the stand. Now once I get all this stuff to the base of the tree, I'll unhook the bungee cords, starting with the one that holds the jacket on. I'll just lay it down on the ground. Remove the other 2 bungees that are in an X. Take off this pack, take off the camera arm, take off the sticks, lay everything separate. I'll take out the 2 pull ropes from the pack, tie one onto one side of my harness, one on the other. Then I'll have 2 paracord loops on the harness, one on each side for the sticks, and then I have a 3rd loop of paracord on my belt loop, my pants, and that's going to be for the pack. So now one of these pull ropes I'll attach to my bow. The other one I'll attach to the camera arm, and I make sure to keep them separate so that the pull rope on my left side stays on the left side, the pull rope on my right side and my bow stays on the other side. It helps ensure that the ropes don't get all tangled up. I'll put the stand on my back. I'll use a mini carabiner on the pack to put it on that paracord loop in the back of my pants. That'll just hang there. And then just like in my how to hang a tree stand in 5 minutes video, I'll put 1 stick on the tree and put 1 stick on either side of me, hanging by the V-brackets and those paracord loops. Now I have 2 sticks and a pack all hanging from me. There's been some people who have expressed concern about whether or not you can do this with a full-length stick instead of the mini stick. One thing you could try is hanging it by the Versa button instead of by the V-bracket. So with the jacket, if it's not that cold, I just got 1 or 2 layers, real light layers. I'll usually put them on right now and then climb up the tree with them. But if it's really cold, I have 3-4 layers I want to put on. Then I'll climb the tree without them, make sure I don't sweat, and then come back down for a second trip to put the clothes on. It's definitely worth the second trip in those cases to not get sweaty when you put your stand up in the tree. So then I would just take my 4th stick and climb up the same method that I used in my How to Hang a Tree Stand in 5 Minutes video. But to be completely honest, last year I just had 3 of these sticks, and for about 90% of the trees that I sat in, 3 of these sticks with the webbing extensions were enough. Okay, so then once I got my stand all set up, harnesses on the tree, I'm all tethered, the next thing I'll do is I'll pull that pack off from my belt loop, and I will just hook it right onto my safety harness rope, just like that, and that's where I keep all my gear. Next thing I'll do is I'll take one of these pull ropes, pull up my camera arm along with any additional vegetation, and I'll hook it onto the tree. Cinch it down tight. Now at this point, since the camera arm's all ready to go, I can take out my camera, which obviously is not in the pack right now, put it on the camera arm, take out my shotgun microphone, mount it to the camera, and take out my audio recorder, and I can Velcro it right onto this bar right here, and then I plug my microphone into that. That's the workaround I have to do with the Sony NEX5R. And then once all the camera gear is set up, all I need to do is pull up the bow. I can see right now that I obviously have a flaw in my system, because the third hand archery bow holder does not appear to be made to hold longbows. So what I'll probably have to do is either use the Lone Wolf accessory strap to hook it on, or what I might do is 3D print an accessory hook that has something like a Versa button or a Night Eyes Figure 9 feature on it. Then I can use a piece of paracord, throw it around the tree, and cinch that paracord on there. I won't have any plastic buckles to worry about or any metal parts. Nothing that screws into the tree, so I'll be completely legal on public land. Then from up here, I pretty much have everything I need. All my stuff's right here. Sometimes I'll take out my rangefinder and I'll just hang it from the V-bracket on the camera arm. Packing up to get back down is pretty much the same thing. I'll start by hooking up my bow to one of the pull ropes, slowly lower it down. I'll put my camera away, take the other pull rope, attach it on, drop down the camera arm, and then a lot of times what I'll do here is I'll take those pull ropes and I'll take them off of my harness and just throw them down to the ground, because at this point I've pretty much given up on shooting an animal until I get down to the ground. I've given up on filming anything. I just want to get down to the ground as quick as possible and move on to the next spot or go back to the truck if it's the end of a hunt. Take the pack, put it back on that rear paracord loop. And I always do a visual check to make sure that it's hooked on, because I got too much money in camera gear to have it fall off. Then it's just a matter of climbing down the tree like you normally would. And typically when I take the tree stand off, I'll fold it while I'm up here, put the strap back in place, cinch it down, and then I'll put it right on my back. So that once again, I'm climbing down the tree pretty much the exact same way as I climbed up. The only difference is that when I get to a climbing stick, and I'm at the point where I can take that climbing stick off, more often than not, I'll just take that stick and toss it down to the ground. It's a lot quicker than trying to put it back together while I'm still climbing down the tree. Once I get to the base of the tree, I'll then take all my stuff and put it back together just like I showed you at the beginning of the video and move on to my next spot. Make sure to check out the DIY Sportsman website for more content on hunting, fishing, gear, and how-tos, and follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.